This is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, presented by Hikin'. Hiking plus kinship. That's Hikin'. Together we roam. Here's your host, my hubby, and co-founder of Hikin', Brian Special.
All right, it is moving fast. It is Tuesday afternoon now, July 15th, 2025. The focus really seems to be shifting off of the lodge area and now, at least for our purposes, into the canyon. Zeena's back with me, man. What a day.
Yep, you're pretty charged up.
Yeah, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to stay up with. It can be very frustrating doing this when you don't think that you're getting all the information that you maybe should be getting. You know, I'm just going through these press releases and the press conferences that they have. They're not even press conferences, they're statements, and deciphering what's going on. And we just heard some, what I consider, especially for our group, to be significant breaking news from the operational command briefing that they had just a little bit ago. And they just happened to mention about halfway through that statement that they were making that they were sending a heli-tac team down to the pump house at Roaring Springs, which is actually at Manzanita, the pump house itself. So yesterday in the NPS press release and briefing that we heard, there was no threat to Roaring Springs or any of the area down there. We're talking at the base, essentially, of the North Rim. 3,600 vertical feet and 5.4 miles from the North Kaibab Trailhead is Manzanita, the Manzanita rest area, probably the most beautiful rest area that we have on the corridor trails. And to hear that that is threatened now is just absolutely, it's stunning. It's stunning to show that that fire can get all the way down there potentially. Now, we don't know exactly where it is, but what they did say in that briefing is that they were sending a heli-tac team down, and that essentially means a group of firefighters who are going down there by helicopter, and they're going to be dropped off, and they're going to begin essentially preemptive defensive measures around the pump house in case the fire does get all the way down there. Well, if they're sending people down there, obviously, you know, there is at least somewhat of a threat. And what the gentleman said, quote, they're going to be working on doing some preparation in there so we can limit any impacts to that pump house from fire, end quote. So clearly they're concerned about what's happening. And I also picked up from that briefing that, I mean, the fire has obviously spilled over the North Rim and has been over the North Rim for a couple of days and burning down into Roaring Springs Canyon. We saw on the maps last night, that you could tell that the perimeter was down at Supai Tunnel, which is 1.7 miles from the North Kaibab Trailhead. There's so much vegetation up there. It's like you're in a forest on that trail up in that area. And you could see that it's burned all the way down to Supai Tunnel. That was last night. Who knows how much farther down it's gotten from there, because now you're talking about Redwall Bridge, then the iconic Eye of the Needle section where the trail is cut into the Redwall limestone right along the cliff. And then all that vegetation down below it is essentially Roaring Springs proper that leads to the falls that provides the water supply for the north and south rims, and then Manzanita, and then beyond that we've got Cottonwood. So, you know, who knows how far this thing can get, and I'm hoping they can stop it before it gets to Manzanita. But it is, you know, this is some serious stuff, and it's getting a little scary. Yeah, I mean that and that's right. To me, that's major breaking news, and that should be out there preemptively. Right. But this was just kind of mentioned halfway through this press conference, and I'm like, yeah, like the alarm bells are going off. It's like, wait a second here. You know, again, reporters who aren't used to the canyon, they probably don't understand the terrain and what this all means for the canyon and North Kaibab Trail and things like that. But, you know, obviously we do. We understand what this means and the impacts that it's going to have on North Kaibab and, honestly, the immediate future of North Kaibab, because if it's burned all the way down to, you know, Supai Tunnel as it had last night, there's got to be devastation on the trail. And I have not heard one single word, one single report from the National Park Service or any of these, the Fire Command about, you know, any impact to the trail. Obviously, that's not their priority. Their priority is protecting structures. But man, it is concerning, to say the least, for the Grand Canyon hiking community. So here are the nuts and bolts. All that being said, here is what is at the foundation of it. We're up to, as of this morning, 8,570 acres burned. That's up from 5,000 yesterday. Worse is that containment still sits at 0%. There are 366 people assigned to fight this fire. I did also hear that they sent a structure protection group into the developed areas to protect the structures that have not burned, especially those in the Grand Canyon Lodge area and also the employee housing areas. And they're there to, again, be preemptive and to make sure that there is no reburn. But yeah, again, the big news out of that briefing that I saw was the threat to Manzanita and the threat to the pump house down there. Again, hopefully they get a stop on it. But I also saw that there's no one working the fire south of Grand Canyon Lodge. Obviously, that is in the canyon. They talk about the terrain. It's almost impossible to put personnel down into the canyon in that area. But it's jarring to hear that because, they're saying they're monitoring it from the air right now, but there's no one that they said that is fighting that fire. So again, what outside of Mother Nature and a monsoon storm or something is going to stop the advance of this thing? I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't understand how fire science works, but it's scary because it could look on a map like it's really getting close to Cottonwood and it's really getting close to Ribbon Falls because that's what it looked like last night. Relatively close. It could be 2,000 or 3,000 feet above it and look closer on a map. But who's to say that embers and fire cannot continue to spill over and down into the bottom of the canyon? And if you're talking about Ribbon Falls and you're talking about Cottonwood, you're talking about the whole frying pan area, which is wide open and exposed. And then eventually you're talking about the box and the Phantom Ranch area. Obviously we don't think it's gonna get that far. It would be tough for it to get through the box because the box is so narrow. However, if it comes from above, I don't know. But, we've heard throughout the entire life of this fire so far that it's done the unexpected, right? This was essentially a lightning-caused fire on July 4th that the Park Service decided to treat as a controlled burn, and it got out of control. Nobody foresaw that would happen, much less that it would burn down Grand Canyon Lodge, much less that it would be at 8,500 acres when it was at 10 acres when they first knew about it. Much less that it would spill over onto North Kaibab and burn all the way down to Supai Tunnel. So who knows anymore, right? I think it's right to be concerned and to say that all options are on the table until we hear otherwise. But man, it's scary. There's so much uncertainty. I think everything has kind of moved beyond the lodge now for the moment because, and only because, this is an active fire and 0% containment, that's what it is. So I don't know what's going to happen.
It's okay. I mean, fire feels like deep personal loss. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel anger, confusion, sadness, all of it.
Are you calling me angry?
A little bit. You're charged up.
I don't know if it's anger. It's a lot of emotions, and that's why I'm glad you're here because you can bring a little perspective and a little feminine touch to my over the top, aggressive former news guy kind of vibes that I'm giving off these days. I'm sorry.
Your heart is heavy. I'm sorry. Now. I know your heart is heavy. It's okay, but just remember that fire has always been part of the canyon story.
Yeah, it has. It's always been part of nature's story, right? It's natural, but it's scary, and especially considering we don't know where this is going to go. There was a little bit of good news today. Did you see that map that NPS put out earlier?
Yeah, they just released the map showing that many of the historic structures around the North Rim Lodge are saved.
Yeah, that was actually surprising to see. They put out a map, and I hope you'll go look at it. It's on our Hiking Grand Canyon Facebook page and in our Hiking Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show Facebook group. I hope you'll go check it out because it's led to some pretty spirited and actually fun kind of conversation today through all this because they put out a map that shows all the area around Grand Canyon Lodge and all of the individual cabins. And it shows which ones were lost. Most of them were lost. However, there are some that were untouched. And the two motel buildings that I've done the canyon shuffle to many times after going down and checking in at the lodge. And then it's so far away from the lodge, and you just finish rim to rim, you got to shuffle on down there. I've done that plenty of times. Both of those buildings were saved, which is really great to hear. A lot of the historic cabins, the Western cabins, the pioneer cabins, the updated cabins, the nicer ones, I guess you could say, and those a lot of those are okay. The fancy ones, the expensive ones, and it's funny,
The rocking chairs.
with the rocking chairs and the porches, and some of them got the canyon views. And it's funny because I didn't know some things come out during official events like this they kind of make you laugh. And it's funny because all the cabins that we always stay in, because I'm a cheapskate, right? Even though they're not necessarily cheap, but NPS designates those, as we saw on this map, as budget cabins.
The budget cabins.
The budget cabins for the
definitely
cheapies.
budget cabins.
Yeah, let's just say that that they might need a little updating. So and might need
transform.
and might need some help getting rid of some of the visitors that like to visit you inside those cabins with four legs and tails. And anyway, everybody's just kind of laughing about that today, and people are posting pictures of the cabins that they stayed in and trying to match it up on the map to see if they're still there. So, you know what, that's nice to see in a situation like this when everything feels so dire. I mean, there has to be levity, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say it right now. When they build back, internet, come on. We need internet when we decide to build this thing back. Is it too soon? Is it too soon?
Nope.
Okay. Again, levity in all cases, but I have been saying forever that the one thing that I am not a fan of on the North Rim is the fact that there's no internet. I know a lot of people out there think that's one of the charms, and that's cool. Good for you. Good on you. But you could not use it if you think it's one of the charms and internet's available. To me, I need to be connected. It's a work thing. It's just the way life is in 2025. I feel like you need to be connected. And so I hope that when the North Rim rebuilds and the lodge is rebuilt, that internet is part of that. Okay. Why did we get off the beaten path with this right now? We're talking about internet. Maybe it was deep down inside me and I felt like I just was going to take the opportunity to say something. Yeah. But also, we're picking up in the group. There's in our Hiking Grand Canyon Facebook group, and a lot of people were getting ready for their rim to rims, and those are now going to be impossible. So have you seen that too? A lot of sadness out there.
Well, yeah. I mean, for a lot of people, it was their once in a lifetime trip. Maybe they were planning to return to the canyon, but it's kind of like losing a piece of your heart, something that you've trained, planned for, dreamed for. It's not just a change in schedule. So, I mean, there's no shame in that grief.
No. And we've seen that. And listen, I hope you'll all post in our group. And if you're sad about losing the ability to do this hike and you think that, it's too soon and you don't want to worry about yourself and there are bigger things that the canyon has to worry about, of course. But listen, we know how affected you are by losing the opportunity to do something that you've prepared for years and trained for the last, several months to a year and beyond. And you've done, all the work and all the hikes. And then suddenly it's taken away from you. That's brutal. That's tough. And we understand that. And I've had a lot of people reaching out to me personally. And by the way, you're all welcome to do that. Send me a direct message on Facebook, on Messenger. I will respond to you. I promise. I will help you. I will help anyone out there. But I'm just trying to encourage everyone that, if you've already got the plans, the North Rim's out, but don't cancel your plans. There are still iconic bucket list adventures that you can take part in from the South Rim. There's no shame in doing a rim to river. Go down South Kaibab, see the most iconic views in the entire Grand Canyon. Oh my God, they're so spectacular. I talk about them all the time, as you know. Do South Kaibab, go down to Phantom Ranch. If it's after October 1st and hopefully the Waterline Project portion of the River Trail is taken care of and the River Trail's open again so we can connect with Bright Angel, you could do a full rim to river after October 1st. Let's hope. And that would be South Kaibab, Phantom Ranch, Bright Angel, and up and out. 17 and a half miles, 17 and a half if you go all the way to Phantom, 16 and a half if you skip Phantom. But that's a big hike. That's not that much shorter than a rim to rim. If you've never done it before, if you've never hiked a canyon before and you're planning to do rim to rim for your first hike, use it as an opportunity. Still come. we always talk about how difficult Grand Canyon hiking can be for those who have never done it before. It's a really tough thing to explain and prepare you for. You really have to experience the unique nature of it, which is the going downhill first before you go uphill. So come out here and use that as an opportunity. Do a rim to river. See what that's like. Guess what? That's going to make your rim to rim when you are eventually able to do it all the sweeter, because you're going to know what worked for you, what you need to work on, right? And eventually the North Rim is going to be open, and you can take everything that you've learned, and you can take the obsession with the canyon that you're still going to have just take over your soul when you come to do any of these hikes. You're going to have all that to fall back on and look back on. And suddenly your rim to rim is going to be that much more special when you are able to do it. When is that going to be? When will rim to rim be a possibility? I know, me and a lot of others are thinking about rim to rim to rim because we know the North Rim is going to be closed, but typically, even when it's closed, you can still access the North Kaibab Trailhead. You just have to get to it and then go back all the way back to the other side. There's no vehicular access up there, and there will not be for the rest of 2025. I don't know now. With North Kaibab, I've not heard one eyewitness account of what the damage and destruction are like on North Kaibab. So it would appear that rim to rim to rim is certainly not going to be an option for the rest of this year. I mean, I don't think. Maybe there'll be some miracle and the trails will be cleared off, and later this fall we'll be able to access it. But I highly doubt it based on the fire maps that I've seen. So even rim to rim to rim is probably going to be out for 2025. And then we've got to worry about the winter, right? We got to worry about last year we had a very light winter. There wasn't a lot of snow. The winter before, we didn't even open the trails up until I think it was July because there was so much damage because of the runoff. And that was in normal times, right? That was significant snowfall, but there was no fire burns and fire damage to exacerbate the runoff. This year, there's obviously going to be. So if they have a bad winter on the North Rim, and I mean, who knows what kind of damage can be done to North Kaibab? That section between Supai Tunnel and Redwall Bridge is just notorious for rock slides and landslides, even in the best of winters, even in normal winters. So who knows what's going to happen when it's got the fire damage to worry about and the runoff from that. And if you do put the heavy snowpack on top of that, oh man, all this to say, I don't know. I don't know. But if you are grieving the loss of your ability to do rim to rim, we're here for you. And we just want to encourage you that, eventually you're going to get a chance to do it. And if you have a trip planned out here, the South Rim is magic. It's like the North Rim is. They're both magic in their own ways. But, I would highly suggest that you still come out and you still figure out something to do in the canyon, especially if you're doing it when it's in the cooler months.
Yeah, and in the meantime, let the Facebook community be your canyon family. We love seeing all the nostalgia. Like, share your disappointment, your hopes for the future. So you're not alone in this.
No. And that's the entire point of why we do what we do and why we changed the name of the entire brand from Bright Angel Outfitters to Hikin, Hikin, because it was so vitally important to us that we had something that reflected all of us. And so that's why Hikin was born, hiking plus kinship. That's why it's Hikin. And it's why we do what we do. So please share in the group, and we're there for you. And I know everyone else in the group is there for you as well. It's the best Grand Canyon group that there is. I just have no doubt about that. Everyone cares about each other, and there's no negativity. We keep the politics out of it, and it's just positive energy. And I would say just don't feel bad if you're thinking to yourself and maybe feeling guilty that you're worried about yourself right now because you lost your hike, and other people have lost their homes and their livelihoods, and we've lost the lodge and all that. But don't feel bad. We get it. This is a rough time for everybody.
Maybe the monsoons will come.
I hope so. Because I did see the forecast, and there was a 15-20% chance of storms later this afternoon up in the Grand Canyon area. And man, I've never hoped for rain more than I I hope for rain now because, again, what is there to stop this thing?
Well, it'll help the land rest and heal,
Yeah.
begin again.
Well, it'd be nice to get to that. Nice to get to that point. We can worry about flash floods and things like that at another time. Let's get this fire out first. And there's a lot of talk about how this thing was handled, right? From the beginning. I want to talk about that just a little bit. Have you seen that?
A little bit.
Yeah. Some people are
Uh-huh.
talking about, obviously, we've got the calls from Arizona's governor. We've got the calls from Arizona's representatives in Congress who are all using this as an opportunity to say, why was this allowed to happen? Because, again, it was a lightning-caused natural fire on July 4th. We first heard about it a week ago yesterday, that it was 10 acres and they were going to let it run its course and do its work. It was going to be a contained fire, essentially a controlled burn, and they were going to let it take care of the underbrush and all the things that fire is used for and is good for. And then it just got obviously completely out of control. And I know it's going to be so easy to rush to judgment and attack and get really, really nasty with those who made these decisions. But, I was doing a lot of reading on this last night, and it's a very common thing. It's a very common tactic to use these natural opportunities to allow fires to become contained, controlled burns to do their job. And there's no indication that, there was any negligence or that someone was acting with incompetence. I mean, it's not just one person making a decision like this to let a fire burn. And it just really seems like it was a worst case scenario where they've done this before and, you're able to contain it. You keep it away from structures. There's no threat to structures and infrastructure like that. And then it just, they lost it. They lost it. And so at this moment, before we know the facts, personally, I'm choosing to be empathetic because, listen, everyone associated with the National Park Service who works at the Grand Canyon, this is their life. This is their livelihood. Do you really think that someone who made this decision is not regretting every second of their day right now? Do you really think they're not in significant pain and know that, maybe they screwed up and maybe they shouldn't have made this decision, because hindsight is always 20/20. If they thought there was even a 1% chance that this would jump the lines and the winds would change and suddenly they would have lost Grand Canyon Lodge and they would have lost so much on the North Rim and now the fire's down in the canyon, whoever made those decisions is living a nightmare right now. And I feel like those days for accountability, I believe strongly in transparency and accountability. It's my, as a former news guy, it's what I believe in pretty much more than anything. There'll be another day for that.
But guess what? The canyon has always known how to survive. And I think right now she's reminding us how strong she really is.
Canyon don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what we always say to the hikers. Canyon don't care. If you don't respect the canyon, if you don't take the canyon seriously, the canyon is going to win. And, maybe to a certain extent, that's what happened here. But anyway, all is still the regular closures that we talked about yesterday: South Kaibab Trail, Phantom Ranch, Bright Angel, below Havasupai Gardens, and of course North Kaibab, all closed. Still a lot of smoke, heavy smoke in the corridor region. That's why Phantom Ranch remains closed. All the corridor campgrounds remain closed. Cottonwood, Bright Angel, and Havasupai Gardens. So this is I can't remember a more volatile time in the canyon's history, just with the closures I just talked about right there. Then you've got the waterline project on top of that. You've got the river trail closure. I know that the river trips are still happening. There's a river exchanges done at the bottom in the Phantom Ranch area at Pipe Creek at the River Rest House. Those are still being allowed, so there are still people hiking up and down to either leave river trips or catch river trips. So that I know is still being allowed to happen. But you just talk about the volatility, and then on top of it all, we said this yesterday, it's July, and there's an extreme heat warning right now. So it's dry, it's hot. So many of the trails are closed. I feel for everyone who's working on the South Rim right now and dealing with all of this, and still having to keep the park open, and still having to deal with the summer visitors, the summer tourists who are here visiting one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. So, I feel for a lot of people right now.
We just gotta hope for the return of the rains.
Yep, we do. And it's coming. It's coming. It's monsoon season in Arizona. We still haven't seen much, but surely it's about to happen. And that would be the most welcome news that we could possibly get. Well, we'll keep doing these. I mean, as long as we need to. I feel like we're not going to talk about hiking and training and rim to rim stories and tales from below and all that stuff right now. But I do want to mention this, since Zeena is sitting here. And this is not a shameless plug. I truly believe this. I am not a person who is into meditating and things like that. And that's Zeena's entire world. So it's kind of a miracle that we're married, right? But
no, it's divine.
Okay. But Zeena did launch a podcast recently called Sacred Steps. And it's meant for all of you. It's meant for everyone in our Grand Canyon hiking community. They are hiking and movement meditations. And man, they are something to really fall back on right now. You've only released 3 of them. The last one you did was on the meaning of the word Kaibab, which is
very significant,
upside down mountain. And listening to these and listening to your voice, I feel like that's just, I don't know, it's like comfort food for your soul, listening to what you're doing right now. So I hope you're going to keep doing them.
I will, every Sunday.
What do you got coming up next, do you think?
Well, I think it's very important to talk about the fire.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell the story of the Grand Canyon fire.
Yeah, already.
Mm-hmm.
So we say too soon, not too soon?
No, it's not too soon. It's happening.
Well, I can't argue with you when you're looking at me like that. Oh, the husband and wife team. Oh, boy. Those meditations, I do hope you'll check it out. It's called Sacred Steps Meditation in Motion by Zeena Special, and they're really spectacular, and they've been extremely popular. And I think that both of us have been kind of blown away with, kind of blown away with the reaction, because it's not, what we typically do here on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, where we talk about, training and packing and rim to rim stories and death and destruction and disaster.
I didn't know if it was the right audience.
Yeah, but it is, because it turns out people are looking for that. Yeah, it turns out people are looking for that. So yeah, so these are really special. There's 3 episodes, and I hope you'll go listen to them, because she's done a great job on them, and I think they're again comfort food for the soul, something that we could all use right now to just kind of set our minds at ease, and it is something that's related to the Grand Canyon. So proud of you. I hope you keep doing them.
Thank you. It comes from my heart.
Yeah, it's obvious that it does. And honestly, what we do, it all comes from the heart. This is a labor of love. And we'll keep bringing you these podcasts and these updates as long as you want us to. I was wondering yesterday if there would be one to talk about today. And then sure enough, I wake up and, it's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just sitting there reading everything that's happened. And oh my gosh, it just never stops. And that's okay, because again, there's a responsibility here. I want to make sure that everyone is as informed as they can be, because I do continue to say that we're not being told everything that we're not being told everything that I think we should be told.
We're filling in the gap.
At least not with enough forthrightfulness. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of reading between the lines and a lot of deciphering what's being told, and a lot of knowledge that I have of the corridor trails in the area that's being applied to the stuff that I am taking and reporting that you're probably not going to find elsewhere. So I take that very, very seriously. I want to make sure that I get it right and pass along good information to everyone, and that will continue. So that's it for now. Got anything else?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We will probably be back tomorrow. And also, if there's anyone out there who was affected by these fires who would like to talk about it, we'd love to have you on the show and hear your stories and your perspective. That's really important as well. Oh, one last thing. We are working on a T-shirt. And we decided to use Bridie because Bridie, the famous Grand Canyon mule, donkey mule, I don't remember. Was Bridie a mule or a donkey?
Oh.
Someone out there is yelling the answer.
Okay.
I can't hear you. But anyway, Bridie is a legendary figure in Grand Canyon lore. There was the statue that sat in Grand Canyon Lodge in the great room, the sunroom. So many people have posted pictures with it. And I think that question has been asked more than any other, is what happened to Bridie? Is Bridie okay? And we still don't know the answer.
No,
we
but
still
we gotta
don't
put
know
Bridie
the
on the
answer.
shirt.
But we're going to put Bridie on the shirt, and it's going to be we've got it out there right now. Is it going to be North Rim strong, North Rim together, North Rim rises? I don't know. We put the poll out there, and we're going to let you decide, and then we're going to make these shirts up, and we're going to donate everything to proper causes to support the people who've been affected by this fire. But that's it for us right now. We will probably be back tomorrow and in the days ahead, so stay tuned for that. This is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, powered by Hiking plus Kinship. That is Hiking. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.